Hello, Jim, Stewie, Angela, how are you all doing? I have to kind of make this road trip a little faster because I got my freeze dryer coming in today and they're not going to call to let me know when they're coming. So I'm trying to pay attention on my other phone. Hello, Catherine. Pilo, how are you? Chrissy, what's going on? And if I miss somebody in the chat, it's not intentional. Hello, Mary Shope. I am headed to the UPS store. And I feel bad I have to buy a couple boxes from there because I don't have enough time to get to Walmart. But I got some honey to ship out. And these are the things that you have to do. Okay, now that I got that set. Lala girl, how are you? It's been a while. And then I gotta get Maria's tickets that she's gonna do later on. I might even get a couple tickets to give away. Oh, is that right? How's your brother doing? Tri-State, how are you? Good morning. I did get the New Georgia tickets yesterday. Oh, they were horrible. I mean, horrible. Got back $11 out of 100. Can you believe that? We got no wins out of the two $20 tickets. No wins out of the two $10 tickets. One $5 win. Out of the four $5 tickets. And two $3 wins out of the 10 $2 tickets. They were horrible. Billy, how are you? All right, let me run in here into the UPS store. Okay, well that idea went out the door. Getting boxes at the UPS store. I'm not paying $4.59 for a frickin' box. Let me find a spot to park. Alright, I gotta run into Publix. I'll be right out. You guys watch the car. Okay, I tried to make that as quick as possible. $4.59 for a box. And it was a small box. Last time I was that gullible, I got married. Okay. I did get a couple giveaway tickets for Maria to give away. I also got her some more of the new tickets. I probably shouldn't have. She wasn't happy yesterday with those tickets. Yes, don't forget to like and subscribe. That is very, very important. It's not as windy as it has been, but I'm still not happy with the wind. I have to open up one of my hives because I've had them shut in there for a few days. But they got feed in there, so that's no problem. But I want them to be able to get out. Hopefully I'll be able to see the queen in there. Everybody's quiet. Oh my, there's a lot of traffic here. Hello, nothing to see here. Where are we going? We're now going home. Hello, Bessie Mosley. Says it's 57 degrees out here. I don't believe it. God. These fucking people, man. I'm caught between a rock and a hard place. And it's a good thing I didn't go through the light because there was Department of Public Safety waiting right there to turn onto the expressway. Now he stopped on the ramp. And he's going to sit there and wait for people to go by speeding. Hello, out in space. No, I already passed the Speedway / 7-Eleven. However, we are going to stop here at the QT. I'd love to get some coffee, but I don't have time to make it. Wish I could have ordered ahead. Alright, you guys watch the car. Let me roll up the window so people don't think that the car is running. Mike Scott, how are you? I do have the window cracked. Okay, I had to pick up Maria some 2025s, and I got myself a couple tickets. They're only $5 each. No, no Diddy party. I got enough oil from Diddy. Ooh, I don't like that. No 3. Do we have a 6? Nope, no 6. How about a 10? Oh, we got a 20 and 30. How about a 7? Nope, couldn't get saved by the 7. Where's my other one? We need a jumbo. Nope, no jumbo. Can we get a match? No 37. How about a 7? Nope, we got a 6. How about a 31? And we got a 32 and 30. There's a 31. And it's a free ticket. So 1 out of 2 on my tickets. All right, let me get out of here. I should have gone out the other way. That one had to drive like an asshole. Especially when I'm in a hurry. Hello, Katrina. If there's anybody else I missed in the chat, I'm sorry. It's not on purpose. Hello, Deborah. How are you? Alright, so I got my sister's package shipped out. I sent her some honey that was chamber vacuum sealed. See if this guy's boss is there yet. Yeah, he is. Okay. I'm interested in getting my house repainted. Looks like the mailman just came. Oh, Mike Scott, you gifted the membership. That is so awesome. And if I could see the... who got it. Looks like Catbird got it. That is so awesome. Catbird's had good luck ever since she sent me that package. She won a coin yesterday. Now she got a gifted membership. That is so awesome. Oh, this garbage and junk mail. Hello, Katrina. I am doing good. God, that fucking seatbelt. Jesus Christ. Alright, I'm going to park out on the street today because I'm waiting on that package to come, on that shipment to come. It's my new freeze dryer. And I can temporarily shut this off right now because it's not here and I'm home. Plus I got to put everybody in my pocket because I got too much to carry. That was the Winder Police Department. I mean the Pendergrass Police Department. Mobiles. Trying to get all these tickets together. These are all for Maria. Said she not gonna let her give up on those tickets just yet. Whew. What a morning, what a morning. Alright. Put that there. I gotta put the keys up. Bring me this. So, what's the good word of the day? Alright. Set that right there. Mike Torres, how are you? Good morning, Kiwi Plum. Whoops. Can't let you guys see that. It's my sister's address. Alright, this way I can keep an eye on FedEx. Now, does anybody know anything about freeze drying? Have you ever had any freeze dried food? Why are you having trouble cashing your check today? You've had freeze-dried strawberries before? They are delicious. The register can't read it. Katrina, you've never had any freeze-dried fruits or freeze-dried candy or... Well, I'm getting my new freeze dryer in today. And once I have it up and running, I will show you the things I'm going to make. Oh, it says Fuzzy Kitchen. I thought it said Pussy Kitchen. Ooh, almost made that mistake. Just getting rid of emails I don't need. Okay. Yes, and we're actually going to do that. But I like to watch some of this stuff that people freeze dry.
Audio and video at the same time. So tray one of this batch. This is going to be a big batch of Bit-O honeys. So got the Bit-O honeys, and then these are what they looked like after some samples were freeze dried. So this is one that got cut lengthwise, and then this is cut across, and then this is a quarter of one. So after it's cut lengthwise, then I cut it this direction. So I'm going to do a variety of shapes on this tray. And then tray two will be a little bit different because I need to, I'm going to do it so that I can show it on video better. So we'll be back when this tray is finished.
Yes, Chrissy, that's what they use.
In half lengthwise. So these are halves, and these are halves the other direction. And then little quarter pieces. and a few whole ones at the front. A couple more full ones back here. But the full ones don't really do as well because they're just so big you have to kind of have them in a couple of bites, which makes a mess. So I'm going to do some more of the smaller ones on here. And I can cut them into thirds also this direction. That seems to work pretty well too. So finish filling this one up and fill the other two up, and then we'll go over to the freeze dryer and put them in. Got to make a little adjustment on one of the racks before I put this one in.
I'm sorry, Angela.
We'll weigh them, and so I'll mark down the weights of these as...
How old is your brother again? Oh. Well, once it's over, he won't have any suffering. But, 66 is just too early to go. Ted Hyman has stage 4 cancer, and there's nothing more they can do for him. He's just basically waiting it out. Yeah, when my brother suffered a heart attack, a massive heart attack, and he was basically brain dead. When I spoke to the doctor, he said there's no brain activity at all. I said, pull the plug. Not going to let him lay there like that. Fuck that. And he was only 43. White Fang, how are you? Oh, it's been 18 years now since he died. I had lost my oldest brother too, 3 months before him, both back in '07. In fact, my oldest brother died on Maria's birthday. And he was only 49. So, Hello, Gary Smith. How are you? Hello, Margaret from Florida. How are you? NC, how you doing? Then in 2011, I lost my mother. 2 years after that, I lost my father. Oh, I'm doing good today, Gary. That's good. Don't worry about it, Margaret. We talk about anything. Right now, I'm watching this guy make freeze-dried bitter honey because I used to freeze dry and then my freeze dryer went down. I couldn't get it to go below 500 mTOR, and Harvest Right really wouldn't do anything for me. And so until I can find someone who can fix a freeze dryer, okay, because you mentioned to all these places that fix appliances freeze dryer and they have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. All right, Angela, you keep us updated. I had to get a new freeze dryer.
They said on the trays. We'll get the weight on these, and with these I'm not going to bother with thermometers because there's really no place to put them. So 955, so 200 grams of the bitter honeys on there. 960 and 989. Okay, so get the freeze dryer ready to put these in. We'll meet you over there. So to get this one ready, I'm going to move the one shelf up out of the way a little bit for better view for video. And that makes it a little bit difficult. I'm not sure what size socket that was. So it would have been easier if I'd have done it when it's not running, because it's ridiculously icy cold in there. All right. So then, I'm going to raise that one up. Get this other side. All right. So that opens up this space so I can see better with the camera onto that tray as they freeze dry. Okay, so get that back into place. So we'll get those in there. All right. So tray 4. You can see how it gives me quite a bit of extra room in here to see in there with the camera. It makes the top one very, very snug, but it's fine. Okay, and it'll take a little while before the frost on this goes away. I'm going to go ahead and wipe it down a little bit, make sure it's pretty clean, especially up here where the camera will be. And that's the inside of that is already frosting up. You can see ice on the seal right here. Okay, so get that. Looks like we've got a seal ring around there already. It'll take a little while, but you can see it's already starting to get more clear, and it'll get more clear as time goes on before it starts. Right now it's set for almost 3¼ more hours of freeze time before it starts freeze drying. It probably doesn't need anywhere near that because there's just almost no moisture in that. But I do want to give it some time to make sure that the barrel the chamber gets back down to 40 below before it starts. And again, I don't know how necessary that is either for these candies. There's so little moisture, but I do want to capture the moisture if I can before it goes through the pump, because I have the oil-tight pump. Okay, we'll come back and check it when that's cleared up and get the camera up against there. So this is how I light that one tray. So I've lifted the shelf up above it, and then I tape this small light to the door, and then I'll move the camera into this spot right here to see right in there. And then I'll cover the whole thing with a piece of black cloth to keep the
Peppermint,
reflections
how
off
are
the
you?
plastic. Otherwise, it really ruins the picture. So the camera is going to end up right here, and then the black fabric will cover it to keep any of the reflections out. But we'll give it another couple hours. That will help get rid of some of that frost on the inside as the pressure lowers. This is the setup I use for getting video through the front door of the freeze dryer. So I use this black velvet over the whole camera and light thing to keep the reflections off the plastic. So it looks like they're already about done, but I'm going to leave them overnight. I'm going to go ahead and take the light out because I don't need that anymore. The camera's done. So I'm going to go ahead and bypass all of the rest of the time and take them out and check them and put them back in. They've only been in there for a few hours, but candy things don't really have a lot of water and don't really need a lot of time. It's been a total of less than 10 hours, including the pre-freeze part, which wasn't really much of a problem because it was already so cold. So I'm going to go ahead and bypass all of the rest of that. Well, they didn't seem to collapse or anything, so that's interesting. Hey, and tray one, and it's hard to get tray one out when it's in there like that. It's nice and toasty. So tray one, let's see if they changed any. It changed a little bit, 943. So it's down 12 grams. All right, that looks great. Tray two. So
we
that's
are
down
watching
16
him
grams.
freeze dry
Tray three,
Bit-O honey.
948. And tray four, 976. All right, so I just put them all back in the same spots because they seem to be finished already, but I'm not prepared to do anything with them tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and just leave it run for a bunch of hours overnight. See if it changes any more weight. I suspect they're already done because it just doesn't take that long. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add more time.
Yeehaw!
And I'll just add more time back on. So I gave it 6 more hours. It did say more than that, but I think they're already done. So this is just because I've got nothing else to do with it, and I don't want to take care of bagging them tonight or doing anything with them tonight. So I might as well just leave it sit there. Now it's the next day. It's had a chance to rewarm for like 3 hours because I had other things I needed to do. And now we'll take them out and reweigh them, see if it lost any weight from last night. If it did, we'll put it back in. But they probably were done a long time ago. I think you could probably get 2 or 3 batches in a day by having it pre-cooled all the way down. Don't shut it off. and just put it in there, maybe even for just more dry time each time, which would be an interesting experiment to find out about these, which we will probably do later. So right now, we'll bypass the rest of the time and get them out. So you can see we owe the universe pressure again, but I'll bypass the rest of the time and we'll check them. Open the drain valve. Get the scale on. Okay, so tray 1 is the one tucked into the very top. And they don't look like they've changed at all after those first few hours. Okay, let's see if there is any difference. Actually, it is 2 more grams. So in 8 hours, it's had about 2 grams. Yeah, so 941, and that's 8 hours. Okay, it's probably still not an issue I'm going to worry about. So tray 2, 1010, so that's 5 grams, but again, 8 hours. We'll consider those. Tray 3, 3 grams, so 945 minus, so it's dropping down 1. And tray 4, 972. Okay, so I'm going to put the disc in place and consider this. Okay, I'm going to reclose that while we consider this. So considering the weight loss before, and then the weight loss now, I wish I'd had a time in between there to check them, but I think they're very, very safe to come out. I'm going to call that good, and we'll get we don't really know the time. We know how long it was before. So it was a total of 18 hours of time that it was in the freeze-drying mode, and that includes the freezing time at the beginning. So I think we could use 18 hours as the time, but I think it would take less than that. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I've got a ring around there and leave it chilling for the next batch. Whatever that batch is going to need pre-frozen. And there's so little ice in there, there's no reason to defrost it. So I'm going to use the palette knife to get that seal ring around there again. Okay, so I'm going to use 18 hours as the time that it took, even though it says 22 and a half hours, but there was a good portion of that when it was sitting and waiting. So it wasn't doing any freeze-drying process. So we'll back it up to 18 hours, and it's probably considerably less than that. You just didn't check it in between there. So we'll get the power usage and get ready for whatever's next. Okay, oh, it switched to 0.01. Well, I looked at it a second ago, and it was 11.00. So the power usage for this batch is 11 kilowatt hours even. So we'll get it reset and ready for the next batch. We'll check to see how many would fit on a tray, because this was 2 pounds in this batch, and the question is, can you do 3 pounds or 4 pounds in the medium one? That would suggest you could do 4. So we'll do this to all the trays, combine it, and find out how much we could have done as a single layer. And hopefully they wouldn't stick together. Tray 2, yep, 1010. And tray 3, this is bouncing back and forth between 944 and 945. I think I'll go with the 944, because that way we might have extras that we have to eat. 970, I'm going to take the lower one of the two, because it keeps going back and forth. Now, let's figure out the weight of those net weight now, find out how much it lost, and figure out how much is practical. Well, this one's less than a half left over. And I don't know if they would stick together. They didn't seem like they were sticky at all beforehand, before they were dried, so I don't think it's a big problem. So I think there's no way you'd get 4 full pounds in there without having them on top of each other. You could definitely get 3, because that would be this much plus half again. So you could definitely get 3. You could probably get 3.5. 4 is going to be pushing it. So that's a whole one. That's a half of one cut lengthwise. And these are half cut the other direction across. And then you've got quarter ones. Okay. So each one of those little piles would be 1 full bit of honey. Kind of cool. Volume-wise, the whole ones get, well, I guess that's about right. I think it's a little bit more volume than that. But these are messy to eat. All of these, I think, would be great. And personally, I think, oh, okay, so almost all of these would actually be thirds, not halves. So it would be 3 of these. So some of these bigger ones on this tray were probably halves. But on these trays, most of these would be thirds, not halves. So again, I think those are like the perfect size. Oh, wait a minute. Yep, perfect size. Oh, we should check it to see if there's any spots in the middle. If we had a knife, if only we had a knife, and the razor sharp knife. Oh, those are beautiful inside. So, here, that's neat. Those just snap so nicely. That is nice. Okay, so we get the weights on them and find out how we're going to bag them. We're not intending these to be stored long term. These are going to be given away or used right away. So we're using these bags, which are clear on one side, and then the silver and gold foil mylar on the other side. So it's still a zipper bag, and they were a gusseted bottom bag. They were a gusseted bottom bag, but the bottom seam is poorly done. The back edge of this is not sealed well enough. So we got these as an experiment, but never really used them. But this seam in the back is not good enough. So on these, we simply cut it off and then resealed it with a double seal at the bottom. And so it's much better, and it's a better size for snack kind of things anyway. I got nothing else on that. So the total on the bit of honey is, got the gross weights here, and then the weight of the trays with the parchment. Then I subtract that out, and that gives you the net weight before they're freeze dried. That was 941 grams. Then afterwards, the same thing, the gross weight after is freeze dried, and then subtract out again the tray weight, and that gives you the net weight after it's been freeze dried. Now it lost a total, so then I can take that total of the before, subtract the total net weight afterwards, that gives me that it lost 69 grams. For this amount, that's about 7%.
That's not bad.
Just barely over 7% of the weight has been lost. Okay, now we'll figure out how many we're going to put in there for bagging. We could obviously go with any amount. We're thinking maybe a 20th. So we'll weigh out a 20th of it and see what that looks like. So, and for these, there's no reason that these have to stay separate at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and combine them and see how close it comes to being able to fit on 2 trays. In a single layer, preferably. So judging from that, this would have been 4 pounds. I mean, this was 2 pounds, so doubling it would be 4 pounds. So I don't think you could, well, you couldn't get 4 pounds on the 4 trays, but you could get maybe 3.5 pounds. So you can get quite a lot of them on there.
Angie, how are you?
And if you don't mind if they touch or stack up as they freeze dry, it may not even be that much of an issue. So you might be able to go 4 pounds. But 3.5, definitely. So now we'll figure out how we're going to bag them and be right back with that. Okay, let's see what that looks like. 43.6 would be 1/20th. That's 42.7. Let's try one of these little guys. 44. So that's just barely over a 20th. So that's not very much. Want to try a 12th? See what that looks like? You want to see what it looks like in there?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what it looks like in one of those.
I'm sitting there eating it.
Okay. So that definitely works. You can easily get that in a flat layer in the bag. Want to do some of them that way?
Yeah.
You want to do all of them that way?
At least some of them.
Because you can always open 2 bags.
Well, what would the 12th be? Let's
Okay.
try a 12th and see
Let's see what the 12th looks like. Let me write down the 20th. Okay. So it'd be that much would be a 12th. So there's a 20th and a 12th. The only reason I'm saying 12th is because I already have 12 bags labeled. So that would be the advantage of doing 12ths. 1, 22, 23, about 23 pieces. I mean, they're smallish, but it's still, that'd be like eating 5 of these whole ones. Okay, so we want to go with 20ths?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to, and going for the 43. So aiming for about 43, plus or minus a little, but I want to average about 43. Ta-da! So it'll be plus or minus a little bit. Okay, so we're going to bag it in 20ths. So that amount is enough for a trial. And for these, we're going to use those little 50cc oxygen absorbers that we got accidentally. So we'll use those up because with these just being sugar, there's really no need for an oxygen absorber, but it certainly won't hurt in case we do end up keeping one for a year or something. I don't imagine they'll last that long. One of the nice things about these bags is they look gorgeous. The product isn't going to last as long. These are not for long-term storage, but for a gift where you know they're going to use it soon, these are beautiful. And there's absolutely no need to weigh these. You could just be throwing hands full in. Boy, I just realized that I'm so used to, well, in manufacturing things, you know, in food industry, they have to weigh within plus or minus. And so I'm in that mode.
Hello, Catbird.
And for this purpose,
Catbird,
you don't really need
you
to
got
do
a
that.
gifted
You can
membership
just
from Mike
throw in
Scott.
handfuls of
Hello,
them.
D.
And when it feels like the right amount to you, stop. You don't even have to own a scale. I highly recommend it for checking to make sure they're dry, though. Other than that, the scale is less important, really. Even with rehydrating. If it's a soup, rehydrate it till it's soupy enough. If it's applesauce, rehydrate it till it's applesauce. Rehydrate it the way you want it, and then use it that way. You don't have to have a scale, you don't have to weigh the water, you don't have to do the math to find out how much water it lost. The biggest use for the scale is to check to see if it's dry.
Oh, that's okay, D.
Once it's stopped losing weight, you can be pretty confident it's dry. And if it's still losing weight, I can guarantee you it's not dry, which is even more important. If it's not dry, don't put it in a bag. Unlike the gusseted bottom ones, these don't stand up. I can't believe we used to use the non-gusseted ones. It's been about 3 years, though, that we've been using the gusseted bottom ones. Wow, they're so much nicer. And now I understand why when people were doing these a lot before, they would have little holders. I think some people used like taco shell holders and wire rack kind of things. I can understand it because they don't stand up without that other bottom piece. We're going to use the little 50 cc oxygen absorbers in these because these are basically sugar things. They don't really need an oxygen absorber at all as far as preservative, but it still could help retain the flavor because you would still have oxygen in there oxidizing the sugars. It just doesn't happen as well without the water involved with it. But we'll add these in there and then zipper them shut and then heat seal them. We're going to try to heat seal them above this rip tab, but below that dot. So there's one spot in between there that it's a perfect fit. Sometimes it's hard to hit though. If anything, you could still go at an angle, but if you leave one of these available, it helps for opening the bag later. Okay, so we'll get these in there, and there should be, perhaps, the exact right amount. And the little oxygen sensors already turned, and this kind is slower.
Oh my, I see what you're talking
these
about.
Little dot kind, those really do well. Okay. So we'll put one in each one and then zipper it shut. That way it can start doing its magic without pulling in more air. And I'm not going to really worry about squishing out too much extra air because it's kind of hard to and takes time. And for these, I'm not really too worried about them. Another nice thing about having the clear fronts is you'll be able to tell if you got an oxygen absorber in it. Had that before where you end up with one, you think one is missing because the bag of oxygen absorbers had 11 instead of 10. And you have to go looking through them all again to make sure you got them. With these clear ones, it's easy to see. These bags are thinner, so I turned it down a little bit. Usually I'm at 6 or 6.5. On these bags I'm turning it down to 5, and I may need to turn it down a little bit more after I do a few. Now, to get it at the right spot, if I hold the bag over the seal, then I can see where the tabs are, and I can see that they're on this side of the heat strip, and I can see that the hole's on that side of the heat strip. So by holding it over it, it's real easy to get it in the right spot.
Yeehaw!
Okay. Okay, a nice wide, 5mm wide seal. Looks like it's sealed very well. And I can still use those tear off little points to tear the top off when time to snack those bad boys. That looks nice. I think that's a good amount. I wouldn't have had a problem with going with some other amount, but there's certainly no need to. I mean, that's...
Well, for 2 people, that's
And...
a healthy snack even.
Look, 3 for $20. That's about the amount that I was thinking I was seeing.
Yeah, but the pictures I saw were very little.
Well, the pictures, the phone was screen small. And blow it up this big, it'll look like a car tire. Yeah, I think it was that kind of
Hello,
volume.
Gia. How are you?
I mean, I could be wrong without seeing it in person and without knowing exact, if they'd held it in their hands so I could make sure the bag size, because it might not even been this big a bag. Our best chance would be to get the little ring ones, freeze dry them, put them in a bag so we could see it. I'm thinking it was about this size bag, but they were gusseted also. So that's why they might not have been as big as these were. I don't think it was this big. I think it was like this, but gusseted. So you put that and seal it at this level. And I think that's what it looked like to me. But it's impossible to tell. Okay, so got the first one sealed. Whoa. So it's just simply a matter of going to seal each one of them by holding it over the seal strip with the little rip tabs on this side of it and the hole on the other side. And as soon as these are done, they can be put in mailing boxes and sent away, or snacked like crazy. Anyway, so that's all on these. There's nothing more
Just
that's going to be
looking
happen to
for
these.
some honey.
Not even going to add a gross weight on the bags because these simply won't be around that long and it just won't matter.
Well, we do have honey
We've got
for
the
sale.
label on it with the batch
We did
number,
process
what it
some
is,
honey.
and the date. I didn't put a weight of what it was before.
Aside from this one,
For our use. On
we've
these
got
sugar items,
2
there's
bottles
just no
left.
point to putting more information because it doesn't really matter.
They're because that one's already sold.
We'll see you on the next
Uh,
one. The freeze dryer is already cold because
They're
we didn't have
$30
to
a
defrost
bottle,
it, so it's ready for the next thing.
plus $9
We'll find out
shipping.
what that is in a while.
I'm sorry, I can't do nothing about the shipping. My sister sent me some recipes on some stuff she freeze dries. Freeze-dried Jolly Ranchers. Well, I don't use jars anymore because a few times when I shipped out jars, they ended up getting broken, no matter how well I packaged them. So now I use plastic bottles. And I just shipped out some honey to my sister. And it was chamber vacuum sealed. In a plastic bag. Yeah, I know. Even Skittles is now freeze drying Skittles. They're trying to take away from other people's business. Manilow, how are you? So I did get Maria some tickets, and I'll show you what tickets I got her. And my cheapest way to ship out honey is UPS. So, not the post office. Yeah, you're right, Gia. Okay, so I got her 10 of the 2025s. Maybe she'll hit a 2025. Let's go ahead and put them in order. Okay, those are in order. This is one of them I got for her to give away. A $5 Extreme Winnings. So stay tuned for that. This is another one I got for her to give away. A $5 $300,000 Lucky Tripler. Boo Boo, how are you? Then I got her 5 of the $2 overload. 500 overload. These are the new tickets. She's got 145 all the way through Black Box 149. Then I got her 2 of the $5 $1,000 overload. And it's 58 in Black Box 59. So she's got 2 black boxes on those. Then I got her 2 of the $10, $2,000 overload, number 28, and black box number 29. And then I got her 1 of the $20, $3,000 overload, ticket number 12. So we'll see how she does on them. Yeah, black boxes do not always hit. I mean, we've had a whole bunch of black boxes that did not hit. And I'm talking $50 tickets, $30 tickets, $20 tickets. So can honey be freeze-dried? And I hate videos like that.
They said chocolate couldn't be freeze-dried, but we did it anyway. They said peanut butter couldn't be freeze-dried, but we found a way to do that one too. But the one thing everyone's been asking us to try is honey. And for this, we used the same technique that we used for the others. We started with a makeshift double boiler, put the honey in, and started to warm it up. Then we started to mix in some water to dilute the honey in hopes that it doesn't explode in our freeze dryer. We used about 1 part honey to 4 parts water. Once we had the water fully mixed in with our honey, we poured it out onto our tray. Then we added a lid so it wouldn't spill, and we put it in the freezer for about 24 hours. But now it's the moment of truth. Let's get into the freeze dryer and see what happens. And this was a total fail. It expanded into a sticky, sugary mess that took us an hour to clean. Maybe next time we'll try more water. Or maybe there won't be a next time because honey literally never expires. What do you think? If you're interested in freeze drying, we have a link in our bio, or go watch some of our other videos. They said chocolate couldn't be freeze dried, but we did it anyway.
Freeze-dried honey. Let's try it. How do they even do this? It's super hard like you're chewing on rocks. Super sweet like you're eating sugar. Do I suggest you try this? No, I don't think you should. I think you should subscribe for daily videos. Freeze-dried honey. Let's try it. How do they...
No, Manilow, we don't always go to the same place to get tickets.
We had some of this in the cupboard. It gets used for making cookies and fudge generally. I'm going to put it in here. I was looking at some information about freeze-dried peanut butter, and I thought, I've been meaning to do this for quite a while, so it's time to try it. I've got about 187, 188 grams of peanut butter in there. I have some xanthan gum that I'm going to try as an emulsifier, and then we'll add about 40-50%, so almost an equal, a 1-to-1 up to a 1-to-1. So the mix will be 40 to 60% water when it's done. So if I'm going to add it to 50-50, then I need 187 grams of water. I don't know if I'm going to use that much, and I'm not really worried about it. I could probably use this for my water, and then I could get some
Oh,
more
is
of the
that
peanut
right?
butter out that way.
Maria
And the
is
main
sleeping
reason
right
I'm
now.
recording all this is so that I have something to fall back on, see how it worked. Okay, and then I have 1/2 teaspoon of the xanthan gum to use as an emulsifier. And I have no idea if that's an appropriate amount for this amount of material. No clue in the world, but I'm going to give it a whirl, see what it looks like, see if it looks emulsified. And then I need to have an overrun. In other words, mix it up, have enough air entrained into it so that it becomes bigger by about 40-50% more than what the volume is.
Yeah, I've
outright
got
with
some
this water
Odin's
right there.
freeze-dried stuff
And I
here.
don't know if I should put the xanthan gum in there or in here. I guess I'll put it in the water and mix it. I've never used xanthan gum for anything, so I don't know about using it as an emulsifier or anything else. I know it can be used as a thickener, which is what I got it for, and I've never tried it. I just finally opened it. Yeah, mix that with it was a 1/2 teaspoon or about 2 grams. Wow, that sure thickens the water. Yeah. Well, we'll see how that goes. Let's see if that will mix in there. Well, I think I want it thinner than that. I think I'm going to add a little bit more water to that. I'm going to go ahead and add the second one in there. If I need to, I can get the bigger measure cup. Okay, I'm going to add more water to that. So that's another 100 grams of water. Huh. I don't think that's going to fit in there, though. I'm going to get a bigger measure cup. And I don't know if I should have used warm water or cold water. Okay, another 100 grams of water. And again, with the amounts of oils in there, I'm not sure how much I need in the way of an emulsifier. Whoops. Come on, go slowly, department. Okay, and then I'm going to put that mix into a pan for pre-freezing. So it's relatively light and fluffy now. So that's going to the freezer for pre-freezing. And we've got a couple more things that we're going to try in this batch. So next, I'm going to try some honey. So this is a jar of raw unfiltered honey that I got from a friend. It's kind of...
Well, Boo Boo, my sister said that she will never do freeze-dried grapes again because they are just so hard to do.
I probably need to warm it up a little bit so I can get it out of there. And I'm going to mix it with water to lower the amount of sugar and put that in there. And I'm not sure if I need to try any xanthan gum with this also. I'll get it mixed with water first. So I warmed that up a little bit so that I can get it out of here. I figure it's not going to hurt it if I try freeze drying it. I can still use it. So about 200 milliliters of honey. I'm going to add that much water. I'm going to try a 1/2 teaspoon of xanthan gum in this, and I'm going to add more water because I think it's still, I don't have a Brix meter, and I should buy one so that I could do this kind of thing. So I'm going to add another container of water. Now it'll be 2 to 1, 2 water with 1 honey. All right, so ½ teaspoon, and I'll do this on, well, what I thought was low, and sprinkle it in. With honey, I'm sure there's no reason for an emulsifier, but it's what I have as a thickener on hand right here. So I'm going to give it a try and see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and put about half of it in each of 2 pans. Since these are sugary, unlike the peanut butter, which had some oil in them, I'm going to go ahead and use a little non-stick cooking spray to coat these. Help make it easier to get them back out. I don't know if I'm putting enough, though. That's not very much. Well, it's more than nothing. We'll give it a try. It's about 800 milliliters. I'll put about 400 in each side. That should equal about 400 grams. If it were just water, it would be 400 grams for 400 milliliters. So I'm going to try that amount. Okay, I went to 405, so a little bit extra. I honestly don't know if I've diluted it enough. The point of diluting it is to have a lower sugar content of it so that it's less likely to balloon up. Okay, it's definitely heavier than water. About 500 in this one and 400 on the other one. So I'll get these in the freezer for pre-freezing. So next, I'm going to do some more heavy cream. These are ultra pasteurized, but is it ultra homogenized? I don't know if it would help to add an emulsifier in this, but I am going to add water to it. So I'm going with 1 cup of heavy cream, then we'll add 1 cup of cold water in with it. So now we're 1 to 1 water and cream. And I'm wondering, again, if I should go with more than that. And we'll get this also in the freezer for pre-freezing. So 1 cup of cream and then diluted with 1 cup of water, so a 1 to 1. And we'll compare that to just the straight cream. This should powder easier. The freeze dryer can hold 20 half blocks. I should probably have 20 different concentrations of it in a batch to try it out and find out which ones work best. So we'll see these again after they're pre-frozen and ready for the freeze dryer. I'm going to add more water because with that amount of water, it still didn't freeze solid. And as I said, I don't have a Brix meter, and I guess I need to buy one if I'm going to do this kind of thing. I'm going to add another 500 grams of water to this.
Yeehaw!
This time I'm going to go pour this directly onto one of the freeze dryer trays and put that in the freezer for pre-freezing. Let's go do that. We're going to get those test trays or blocks into the freeze dryer and see how they do. I'm concerned that the honey still is too sugary, the Brix is too high in it. I should buy a meter so that I could actually get it to the right level. Read a little bit about what level it should be for sugary things, and I know on orange juice that it will work at the level that it is, the unconcentrated. So it would be interesting to see what level the honey is. I suspect it's too high. Anyway, we're going to get these pieces in there and get them in the freeze dryer. And on the empty trays, I'll go ahead and do some blocks of milk that I've had sitting in the freezer for some amount of time. So this is the tray of honey that honey and water mix that I poured directly onto the tray. And it's tray 4, 1680. And I still don't know if it's going to be too sugary. I'm going to add a piece of parchment over the top so if it blows up a lot, it won't stick to the shelf above. I don't know how that's going to work either. So we've got the cream. It's just a regular block of milk on that one. And this one, I'm going to put the peanut butter on there. Okay, I'll put that, and I'll use this other part for just regular milk. Get this other block of milk in here, because we know what milk's going to do and what it's going to look like, so I don't need to be able to see it through the window. Now this one is the one that I think is going to be kind of disastrous. I have the honey, and it never fully set up, so it stayed pretty squishy. So I'm trying to get it out of there so I can get it transferred, but I'm not very confident in that. You can see it's still very flexible. I think it's not near enough water in there to work properly. I'll go ahead and do that and add another block of milk back there. And I have plenty of milk in Ziplocs. We had already frozen them in the blocks so that they could be ready if we needed something real quick. And that's a 2-cup block of milk. Well, we'll see what happens. I've got the honey covered with parchment, so in case it kind of blows up a lot, it won't make quite as big a mess, I hope, and stick to the top. The other ones I don't think are going to be a problem. I don't know how they'll work out, but so we have the peanut butter, the heavy cream, honey, and more honey. Honey with a lot more water in it. I think this has a better chance than this. I'm not confident with either of them. We'll see how they go. Without having this plastic disc in the door, I get all this condensation. If that disc was in the door, there would be none of this, or almost none of this. I need to put my seal back on, and take this one off, and see if I can get back to what I had, or make a new disc for this seal. This is the seal that came off my sister's, and it's slightly thicker on the inside, so the diameter of the circle in the middle is a little bit smaller, and my disc doesn't fit in there. We'll be back and check with this later. I'm going to give it a lot of freeze time because of the sugary parts of that, basically to give it the best chance to succeed. I don't know if it's going to get cold enough to freeze solid properly because of the amount of sugars. I probably should have doubled the water again, even on the one that I had added additional water. So I'll have to watch this. I may have to stop it early and take it out if it just gets too out of hand and blows up like a balloon too much. The surface tension of that with the sugars might be too much for it, and it just will balloon up. We'll come back and see it. So don't go away, it'll be just a second. There's the peanut butter. Heavy cream is doing fine. This is about 5 hours later. Okay, there's the peanut butter again. The cream is doing well still. However, the honey's a bit of a mess. So that's the one that's not as dilute. That one's doing better. We'll see how that ends up. And it says that it's almost 90 degrees in there. This test batch says that it was done and ready to check a few hours ago, but I wasn't ready because we were doing some stuff with Peaches and I was doing some other editing. So I just added more time. Well, now I'm ready to start the dry check, and we'll see what's happening with these test things. The peanut butter looks great. The heavy cream looks perfect. The honey looks interesting. The one that I took back out and added additional water looks promising, like it might work. The other one looks like a mess. It hit the top of the shelf or the bottom of the shelf above it and is going to take some cleanup later. I'm going to have to take the rack out and all that. In the meantime, though, we'll get them out, check them, and put them back in for additional time for the dry check. Doing the dry check is such a simple way to make sure that it's dry. It doesn't require guessing if it's dry. So we'll get them out and check them. The heaters have been off for about 10 minutes already, maybe a little bit longer, so they have cooled down a little bit, which is what I wanted for this honey because it's so sugary. The thermometers in the honey are still showing about 80 degrees, so there's no chance of condensation at this point. But as it drops, the tray itself will get cold faster than the food, so then you will have to worry about condensation. And with sugary things, I do like to take them out while they're still warm to make sure that that doesn't happen. So let's get them out, kind of look at them, and see if we can get a lap out of that honey.
Well, there's a real good purpose for freeze-dried honey.
Open the drain valve. With the pressure equalized, we can get this open. So tray 1 is with the peanut butter and milk to fill up the tray. If you've been watching my process for any length of time, you know that I don't really care about what this weight is. This is just to see if it's dropping. So when I put it back in for another couple hours, does it lose any weight at this point? I don't really care what the weight is. Okay, so let's look at this. I just want to look at this peanut butter. So this was the peanut butter, added water to it, and then added an emulsifier. So I just want to see how this is looking inside. Okay, so it doesn't feel greasy at all. It doesn't feel oily at all at this point. It looks really interesting. Okay. So I think this is going to work well for doing peanut butter. I'm going to put this one on the second rack position and bring this one down. 914. And that cream is looking quite nice also. So tray 3, and it's quite a mess inside.
Taxi!
So you can see the honey blew up all over the place. 950. Let's take a quick look at that. Well, I got honey on my milk. That's going to be a little bit of a problem later. Maybe. So that is sticky out here. So there's definitely sticky, and that's what I would expect with that. So I'm going to have a little bit of milk in the honey and a little bit of honey in the milk. Okay, that's kind of a mess. It is quite dry with the exception of the pieces that were sticking way up. Okay, even these pieces, they're like hard candies. So it did an okay job, but not a great job. Whoa, and now I've made a mess out of it. Okay, well, that made a mess of that. Good thing I cleaned the table. I'll put that back up on the spot, and I will trade spots with that one. I'm going to go ahead and put that one down here. I take this one and put it here. And then let's look at this other honey one, 931. And this tray, the one that was on the bottom, is getting icy cold already. This one, I would never bag this. It's way too cold already. This one's going to have condensation on it right away already. Okay, this one, and this is the one that I'd taken back out and added additional water to it. This one looks much more promising. Again, with the amount of sugars in it, it's still going to have a problem with getting sticky right away. It's going to want to pull moisture right out of the air. So I don't know how that's going to powder and what's going to happen to it. But it looks promising. We'll leave that alone, put it back in, and give it more time. So this one will go up here now, where it's going to be a little bit warmer. So we're going to give it that additional time for the dry check, and then pull it out and check it again. The honey that was only mixed, I think, about 1-to-1 with water was too sugary. It ballooned up, it collapsed down. It's more like a candy now. I don't think that we're going to be able to make that work at all. The other one looks promising. And then I need to do some more experiments with that honey and see what is going to work and what's not going to work. So we'll put this back in for another couple hours and come back and check it for the final. And if it doesn't lose any weight, that means it's already dry, and it probably is. And then we'll be able to do something with it in the way of bagging it. I don't know what we're going to do with that honey. So we'll see what it does. Don't go away, it'll be just a second. So I've given it, I don't know, another 3 or 4 hours, because I gave it a bunch of time, and then dinner, and then a movie, and then some editing. And so now, and then printing the labels for these. Anyway, now I'm back. So I think it's been like 3.5 or 4.5 hours. It's been a good long time. Everything was probably dry before, but we don't do probably, we check it. So let's get them out and see what happened to these things. I know the one tray of honey, the one that was only diluted 1-to-1, I know that one is kind of a failure. I don't even know if I can get it out of the pan. I don't know if I'm going to bag it at all. The other one looks very promising, the one that's 3-to-1. I think it would still be better with a 4-to-1 or even a 5-to-1. And ultimately, unless you need powdered honey for something, why not just store it as honey? Honey lasts virtually forever anyway. But we're going to try it because a lot of people have asked over the years,
Hello, Thomas
and I've never
Anderson.
done it. I just assumed I could if I wanted to by diluting it and maybe adding an emulsifier of some kind. I've never seen a dried honey product that was actually honey. It's always been some honey with other things like sugar or dextrose, fructose, starches. They've always been honey and some other things, or some other things and honey, so much so that the reviews usually say it doesn't taste like honey. This has almost all honey. It has very little of anything else. It has a tiny bit of xanthan gum, and I'm not sure if I even need that or how much would work. If that sample does pretty well, we'll probably do some experiments with some more just because we could. Anyway, let's get these out of there and check it. So bypass the rest of the time by using the down arrow and then open the drain valve. As soon as the pressure's equalized, we can open it. Tray 1. Tray 1 is the one with the peanut butter in, and it looks like it's perfect. And it's lost no weight, so no change on the weight, so that was done, and again, it probably was a few hours ago, quite a few hours ago. The milk and cream, so the cream is the one that we're after. No change, it's the one we're testing. We know milk does fine, and I think cream did very well by adding the water to it. Tray 3, the milk and the honey that is going to be a poor excuse for honey. It looks good, and I don't think we're going to end up bagging that anyway, because I think it's going to be a problem. Okay, and tray 4. Okay, and no change on that one. All right, so we'll stop the machine with no defrost. We'll get this stuff moved over and take care of it. We'll get these taken care of. You can see what the honey did. The one that was 1-to-1 with water, it
2-to-1.
kind of ballooned up and then collapsed. So it's going to be just hard. The one that's 3-to-1 has some
5-to-1.
potential, and so I'll probably do something like this again with a little bit different concentrations. And then the rest of these
Hello,
are going to be
Princess
fine.
Scratcher. How
We're going
are
to take care of
you?
the honeys first because of the sugars and get those off the trays. And I don't know if we'll get anything useful out of this or how it'll do, but I got to get it off these trays, so I got to figure out something. Okay, 917. Try to get this off the tray and into a bag. And this is where having parchment on there is a good idea and not putting it directly in the tray. I put this directly on the tray, mostly for time. I didn't want to take the time. I want to get them into plastic bags real quick because they're going to absorb moisture out of the air, and they're going to do that in a hurry. But that's why I use parchment paper all the time, so I don't have to deal with that mess. Of course, this other honey is pretty much a lost cause. So it's not sticking to the parchment. So if I'd have had parchment under the other one, that would have worked much better. I'm going to go ahead and bag this into the Mylar bags and just see what happens with it over a few days. Get that milk off of there, and then I can take care of this honey. Got 2 cups of milk. I can get that off of there, and then I'm going to crush that. And if there's a touch of honey in it, I'm not going to worry about that. Get that milk taken care of. And yeah, there's going to be a little bit of milk in that one, but I'm not going to worry about that. There's the crunchy, sugary honey. It's like hard snacks of honey, but it could still be used. It's not like it went bad. I'm going to split it into 2 bags. That way I can open one and test it earlier than the other. I'm going to go ahead and pour about half of this into each one of these, and we'll see what happens. I'm not real confident that they're going to hold up, but they look good right now. And I'm going to go ahead and close those off. Squish out the extra. Yeah, this is where having a nitrogen flush would be really, really good. We'll get the milk done. So that's 2 cups of milk, and I'll put it in one of these pint bags, and that'll be big enough to rehydrate it. Very nice. Nice powdered. Get rid of the extra air. Zipper it. Now, this is the block of cream. It was 1 cup, and then I added a cup of water to mix it 1-to-1. So let's see what happens with this. And of course, there's lots of fats in it.
You want to go outside? Huh? Come on.
Okay. Yeah, so I think I need to put an emulsifier in this also to make sure that it doesn't separate. That's 1 cup of milk or cream basically. So I think I need to dilute that one more also. So I want to try that again. Add some emulsifier, maybe double the water. So a 2-to-1 instead of a 1-to-1. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close that one. And I still need to add the oxygen absorbers. I'm just closing them to help protect them from any moisture in the air. Finally, the peanut butter. So I want to get the peanut butter into here, and these are fairly solid. Going to crush it a little bit, but I'm going to try to do it fairly quickly. I don't want to warm it up. If I get it warm, it's going to start to stick together. I don't use a blender or food processor for powdering the food before storing because I don't want the tiny particles whirling through the moist air and absorbing any moisture. That's the peanut butter. That came out pretty nice. I don't think it's going to fit in here, though. Okay, that's not going to fit in there. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this peanut butter or how to handle it, even. You can see it just looks like peanut butter flakes. Oh, I don't think I mentioned this was creamy peanut butter. I'm a bigger fan of crunchy peanut butter, but this is what we had at the time. So I don't know how that's going to work either. I think it might collapse into a peanut buttery lump at some point. I don't know. This, as it's cooled, it's become crunchier. I've gotten completely sidetracked on this whole batch because it's such odd stuff. I don't know how they're going to hold up. The milk is the only ones that I'm used to and know that they're going to do fine. My sister did heavy cream before, and I rehydrated some of it just as a test shortly after she did it. But we didn't do it this way by adding the water to it, so I don't know how this is going to do. I don't know how the honey is going to do. I don't know if it's even going to stay as a powder. I think I should leave the bag bigger so that it doesn't crush in, and probably same with the peanut butter. So I'll go ahead and add oxygen absorbers to these. If you want to see some other types of experiments with any of these, let me know. I think I'm going to try honey again by adding an even higher amount of water and the emulsifier to help keep it in suspension a little better. And same with the cream. And then I can see what happens with those. Otherwise, milk is just a normal thing. Heavy cream, I don't know. It's interesting, and it seemed to work better this way with the extra water. So I think water and an emulsifier might be a good choice. So we'll give these some more tries and see what happens. It's 5 or 6 days later. We're going to open a couple of the bags, or I am going to open a couple of the bags and look at them and assess them to see what they're doing so far. I know that's a very short time. It won't tell us a lot. But I'm concerned with the honey, especially the one that was only mixed 2-to-1 with water, about it just turning into a lump, that it wasn't powdered enough to actually function. And as people have reminded me a few times, and I'm well aware of, honey doesn't need to be freeze-dried. I'd go a step further. I think that freeze-drying it may actually damage its lasting ability, its ability to be stored long term, because honey is naturally a antibacterial or has antibacterial properties. Its pH is such that it lasts a long time. So it's probably not a positive thing to freeze dry it. But people have asked, and there might be uses for a powdered honey, not just the fact that it's powdered or just the fact that it's powdered. You might be able to use it in ways that you couldn't use a liquid honey. So I'm going to experiment with it more. The tests in this video were pretty poor science. I just winged it and tried one sample of each, basically 2 of the honey. If it works at all, then I'm going to take each of these products and do a more rigorous sampling process, step by step, with minor variations till we find out what really works best. So let's take a quick look at these and then get them resealed, and we'll see what they look like now. I never even labeled this one all the way because I was just sure that this was not going to work out. It still jiggles in there. Same with these. And of course the peanut butter never did make sound like that. Same with the cream. So let's give these a look. And I won't open both of these. I'll only open one, so I'll leave one undisturbed for later and see how one of them looks. So cut this open and take a peek. This is one of the reasons I like to seal them so high on the...
Hello.
Is this James Cooley?
It is.
Hey, James, this is FedEx Freight. How you doing today?
I'm good. How about you?
Doing pretty good. Hey, this is the same driver I tried to deliver that freeze dryer to yesterday.
Right.
I got it on my truck again today, and they said they had scheduled an appointment with you. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. All I had on here was to give you about a 20-30 minute heads up. So I'm probably about 20-30 minutes out. Is that okay?
Oh, that's perfect.
Okay. All right, well, I'll head that way. I'm in Jefferson right now, so I should be there in 20-30 minutes.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thanks, sir.
Sure. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
That was nice of him to call.
The bag. I've got room for one, maybe two more before the seal, but definitely at least two more before the zipper. I said seal, before the tear strip notches. Okay. So, okay. So it looks like it did kind of clump together a bit, but it's breaking apart very easily.
Yeehaw!
Okay. Yeah, so if you were using that for something that needed a powdered chunk, I think it's still very easy to powder it. Okay. So that's interesting. Definitely a full honey taste. I mean, it instantly melts in your mouth and it's like honey. Okay. So I think it still needs something, and it's why powdered honey usually has other things in it to keep it free flowing. Otherwise, it's bound to clump up like that. So we may try some samples later, adding something. Not sure what. Maybe just a cornstarch or something. I'm not sure what I would add. Okay, but I'm gonna get that resealed. So let's check the one that was only 2-to-1 with water and see how that fared. And this is the one I expected to be even more clumpy. Yeah, so those pieces kind of clumped together. But they still break apart quite easily. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave those in there. And we'll check them again another time. I think over time these are just going to become kind of a lump. So I think it needs something else to prevent that. The commercial ones have some kind of anti-clumping agents, and that's part of what they use the starch or the sugar or the dextrose for. Okay. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. I'm not going to pour that out of there, but that is definitely still just flaky. So that's very successful. Well, that's good peanut butter too. That's good. So I definitely want to experiment with peanut butter some more. I want to try different methods, different amounts of water, different amounts of mixing. I reread the article. I didn't mix it anywhere close to the amount that it should have been. That looks very interesting. We will definitely be doing some more work with peanut butter. Yeah, so that one we really don't need to pour out to see it. It's holding up perfectly.
Stop eating all of it.
And then the heavy cream. And this feels like I didn't leave enough air in it. I should have used a bigger bag for this so that it doesn't squish it into a block. Let's see what that looks like. Well, it looks like it's holding up fine as a powder or as flakes. Not really powder, more of a flake. Okay, so it didn't fare too poorly, but I definitely would use a bigger bag so I can balloon it up more and have less of a chance of it crushing. Because I don't want, when the oxygen is absorbed, the bag squishes down by 21%. You may not notice it every time, but with a full bag, you're more likely to notice it. So I should have used a bigger bag, I think. So wiping off the seal area, make sure that it's clean. So we'll do more experiments with cream also. So I will plan on doing more cream, more peanut butter, and more honey. And we'll figure out what seems to be the best method for each of them. We already know from this example that honey, oh, and I should change that, that's 2 to 1. Honey with 2 to 1 doesn't work well. Okay, so that's what we've got now. We've got 3 samples that worked okay, but could use some improvement. And the heavy cream, one of the things I would do in the future is bag it in a bigger bag and maybe a nitrogen flush to puff it up so that it doesn't squish and have those oils squished together. But it does look good. The peanut butter looks great still. The honey is marginal, but I think we can get it. And I could see some uses for it. If you want a powdered honey to put on something, this could work. So we're getting close on that. So thanks for watching, and we'll do more experiments.
All right. All right, let me ask you this. What do you think about PB&J bites? Because that is one thing I will be doing. My sister said they are awesome.
And we are going to peel these, so put the peel piece into place, and that's spring loaded so that it follows around. I've got my laser on, that tells me where the center is, and then I just look at the blossom end. Apple comes over, we look to see if the core is all out of there, because sometimes with some of the apples the core is bigger in diameter and you'll end up with pieces of the seed and core in there. When that happens, we'll show it. And then into the water with the ascorbic acid. Just kind of peel them apart a little bit.
I have one of those
We
peelers.
had some.
I am not a fan. Maybe I just have the wrong one. You know, I really hate when people don't talk.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well, man. How are you?
I'm just here to see if you guys are willing to take responsibility for your actions that led to the January 6th insurrection.
Take What is this, like a college paper?
I mean, no, you sell guns.
Yeah, we
Like,
sell
this
guns. What is that supposed to mean?
This is what was used in the insurrection.
And what insurrection?
The January 6th insurrection.
Oh, the insurrection. Yeah, that was worse than
The worst-
9/11. Worse
yes.
than 9/11. I get it. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Look, we'll take anything. I mean, you can give us cash, check, anything you want to do.
Oh, you
It's
want money?
reparations.
Where's the money going?
It's reparations.
Where's the money going?
It's going to help the families that were negatively affected.
Really?
There was so much harm that was done.
Yeah. I really trust you.
Look,
Really
you
do.
can just sign the petition. Right
No,
here.
actually, look. You see that sign,
Look,
Louisiana
look,
Firearms?
right
Just
here,
add
right here,
.com
please.
to it. Go submit a
Right here.
request. That's fine. You can do that. I'm not helping you right now.
What does it take to get one of those? What kind of license do you have to have?
What kind of license? Do you have a driver's license?
That's all you need to get one of those?
I'm done. Get out.
Those kill people. Those kill people. I'm so done with the gun industry. Hey, how's it going?
It's going well, man. How are you?
I'm just here to see if you guys are willing to take responsibility for your
Oh, here we go.
It was a night of hot tempers and heightened emotions here in the U.S. That's where town hall events hosted by Washington lawmakers put them face to face with the voters they represent. Republican Senator Chuck Grassley fielded questions in Iowa about a man from Maine mistakenly deported to El Salvador.
Are you gonna bring that guy back from El Salvador? Why not?
Well, because that's not a power of Congress.
The Supreme Court said to bring him back.
We would like to know what you, as the people, the Congress, who are supposed to rein in this dictator, what are you going to do about it? These people have been sentenced to life imprisonment in a foreign country with no due process. Our government cannot do anything.
Now, Grassley is known for visiting all 99 counties in Iowa every year and says that his office has received more emails so far in 2025 than all of last year. Voters questioned his support of President Donald Trump and apparently weren't happy with the response.
You're proud of voting for Trump and what he's doing in office. Are you proud of it?
And an attendee, here's what CNN's crew saw. Turned violent at town hall hosted by. Meanwhile,
I didn't say that.
Meanwhile, in Georgia, a town hall hosted by Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene turned violent after an altercation between a police officer and an attendee. Here's what CNN's crew saw. Watching there, CNN crews witnessing police use a stun gun on at least 2 men after they refused to leave the event. Both men and another woman were arrested. Police say that officers used force that was, quote, necessary to gain compliance and control the situation. At least 11 more town hall are set to happen across the country tonight. Reed Binia now has more details on what lawmakers hope to accomplish on Tuesday.
Tempers flared as Washington lawmakers faced constituents at town halls on Tuesday. Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene was interrupted several times by protesters at her town hall in Georgia, with police forcibly removing people from the event, arresting 3 individuals, and using stun guns in 2 instances. Greene dismissed the interruptions and moved on.
Thank you to our great police officers.
There you go.
She displayed some critical constituent questions about the Trump administration on a projector, reading them out loud, and responding in at least one case by pushing back.
Unfortunately, you're being brainwashed by the news that you're watching. A lot of Democrats pride themselves on being educated, and I suggest they educate themselves better.
In Iowa, Republican Senator Chuck Grassley took a different...
Yeah, Chuck Grassley's an idiot. He doesn't know how to explain something. Hello, Sarah. Exactly, Sarah. See, that's what kills me, is that some of our congressmen and senators and the news media are more worried about an illegal gang member that was deported. I mean, he was going to get deported anyway. He had a deportation order, okay? And the judge is claiming that he wasn't supposed to be sent to El Salvador because he was in fear of another gang out. Well, you know what? That's too bad. You're in a gang, and there's rival gangs, and that's just your life, okay? You could be shot and killed by another rival gang, okay? But like Stephen Miller said, the gang that he so-called is afraid of no longer exists because the president of El Salvador has arrested all of the gang members from every gang. That's why it's now safe to live in El Salvador. It's probably safer there than it is here. Yeah, like he's a Maryland man. No, he's not a Maryland man. He's an illegal immigrant. He's an illegal alien. And he was deported under the Alien Enemies Act because the gangs were designated foreign terrorists. Oh, he's got a U.S. citizen wife and 3 kids. Tough shit. There is not one of them talking about Rachel Moran, who was raped and murdered. She had 5 kids. I don't see anybody talking about her kids. They lost their mother. And Lake and Riley here in Georgia. a half an hour away from me. Okay? It's fucking sickening. And it's all because of Joe Biden. And these people that are in there, a lot of them are paid protesters. They're there only to cause trouble. And Chuck Grassley standing there, well, it's not up to Congress. You stand there and you say, he's an illegal alien, he's a gang member, he's designated as a terrorist organization, he was deported back to the country that he is a citizen of, and that's what we're doing. We're getting rid of the people who are killing you. No, El Salvador was the most dangerous country to live in. It was the murder capital of the world. I mean, these fucking gangs, if in El Salvador, if you owned a business and you didn't pay extortion money, they killed you right there. And then they would kill your family. All right, everybody, I got to get off here because I got to wake up Maria. I got to let her know that FedEx is coming by in a few minutes. Maria will be on a little bit later to scratch her tickets. Hope you all can be there. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you for the 49 likes. And we need to get ready for this guy to get here. So thank you, everybody. Oh, I'm going to try and have a good rest of the day because I'm going to spend my time setting up the freeze dryer once it comes in. Yep, see me in a little bit. Talk to you guys later. Bye.